As I approached the entrance of the building where all my classes took place, I saw my friends waiting for me. Simon, a really nice guy I met a few months ago. He's kind of a funny nerd, always making jokes and referring to video game stuff. There was also Jessica, my best friend since I was 10. She was the opposite of Simon. While he was more of the shy type, she was bluntly honest, never afraid of what people could say or think about her. She knew everything about me. Well, almost everything, because she definitely didn't know that I was, first of all, gay, and in a relationship with the guy she had a crush on, and the last person waiting for me, William. Sweet, caring William. We've been dating for 2 months now, after a party when I drank way more than usual, maybe around 6 beers, and blurted out that I liked him. But that's not the craziest thing that happened that night. As an answer, he had just taken my hand, dragged me out of the house where the party took place, and kissed me in an alley while I was just trying to keep up, barely processing what was happening. Since then, we've been seeing each other secretly, during weekends away from town, because the last thing we wanted was our families knowing about us, and when your family knows half the town, having a date at the cafe run by your mother's best friend down the street isn't the best idea. We also try to have time together during breaks at school, in an empty room or an empty corridor, anywhere we can be alone. Jessica had told me her feelings for him a month ago, and at that time, William and I were definitely not ready to come out. So when I talked about it to him, he had just asked me to try to make her understand that she didn't have any chance without telling her that he was gay. So I just made up some story about him having a long-distance girlfriend. When I arrived at the entrance, I hugged Jessica like we've been doing for years to greet each other, and bumped fists with Simon and William. Sometimes I just wanted to kiss him like other couples did. Just stop caring about what other people would say, but we were still both not ready for that. Simon was the first one to talk. "Hey mate, how's it going?" "Perfect," I lied. I didn't want to talk about the fight I had with my controlling mother over the phone the night prior. From the look William gave me, I guessed that he knew that I was lying, and that I'd have to talk about it when we'd be alone. Simon seemed pleased with that answer. "Great! Hey, look at her! She has to be your type, right?" I looked toward the girl he was talking about. "Not really." "What? Come on, we're running out of options here. You said that about every type of girl. Back me up on this, Will. She's cute, right?" said Simon, exasperated. "Nope, you're alone, and she's not really my type either. I prefer when they're more masculine," answered William, doing air quotes. "Thank you, William. I think you're the only one who gets me," I answered with a little smile, looking directly at him. Jessica, who probably didn't like being left out of the conversation, and even less to hear William talk about other girls, changed the subject. "Come on, boys. Let's wait in front of the classroom to be the first in, and get the best seats." She grabbed my left arm and locked it with hers as we walked in the corridors. No one was in front of the classroom when we arrived. Maybe because we were half an hour early? We've been coming early since we all became friends, wanting to spend some time together before going to class. And we quickly got used to waiting in front of the classroom, close to the door, to be sure to have seats in the back rows, for the boring classes. That way, we could talk by writing on a paper and passing it among each other. And for the classes we liked, we could have seats in the front rows. Today we had 3 classes, one interesting, followed by a boring one, a break, and once again, a boring one. We sat in the corridor. Jessica was next to me, William was in front of me, with Simon next to him. "So how's it going with that mysterious girlfriend of yours, William?" asked Jessica. She really wasn't dropping it. I glanced at William, who looked visibly uncomfortable. He looked at me, and our eyes locked. "It's going very well. She's amazing. I have a date with her on Saturday. I'll go to her town in my car. She can't come here, so I have to go meet her," William answered, keeping looking at me. I knew he was actually talking about our weekly date out of town. I looked away, trying not to smile like some schoolgirl around her crush. "Oh, great, good for you," said Jessica as she lowered her head. It was unusual for me to see her like that. Her crush was way more intense than I thought. William and I looked at each other worryingly. We both knew it was hurting her, but it was the only solution we had found to make sure she wouldn't have too much hope and out ourselves. "You never told us her name," Simon asked. He clearly wasn't seeing how the 3 of us were feeling bad, each for a different reason. He was just way too curious about William's love life. It's Jane, William answered after a few seconds. I was surprised from how quick he had come up with this name. We hadn't thought about it this far. Does that make you some sort of Spider-Man? You know, since his girlfriend's name is Mary Jane, Simon said. Of course he had to make that kind of comment. I'm sure he held back all morning from talking about pop culture. I wish, was all William answered. We all fell silent and saw our professor approach and open the classroom. We entered and went into one of the front rows. We exited the classroom after 2 hours of pure boredom. Finally, some peace, exclaimed Simon, stretching as the professor walked by us, and gave Simon a disapproving look, which made us laugh.
Nope, not yet. We have to work on our paper, remember?
Said Jessica, smirking. Well, let's go to the library then, answered Simon. William and I looked at each other. We had the same idea in mind. We'll leave you to it then, I said. They were used to us not joining them in the library. When we started dating, we found the excuse that we weren't comfortable enough in the library to work there, that we preferred working in a classroom or a corridor, so we could talk and help each other without getting dirty looks from other people.
Yeah, see you for the last class,
said Jessica, looking mostly at William, who didn't look back at her. We then separated into 2 groups. Jessica and Simon went to the library, and William and I went to look for an empty place to be alone. After looking for about 10 minutes, we found an empty corridor that we knew that almost nobody used. We sat in a corner next to each other. So, what happened last night? William asked. Of course he would ask me that. Nothing happened, I lied. I didn't want to burden him with that, but by the look he gave me, I understood that I couldn't get away with it. Okay, fine. My mother called me, and as you can guess, it didn't end well. She asked tons of questions that made me uncomfortable and crossed boundaries. Like, questions she shouldn't ask, especially after I talked to her about it. William took my left hand in his, squeezing it. What did she ask? William asked, looking concerned. If I had met someone, if I was having sex with someone, that type of thing. I mean, who asks that kind of question to their kid? I said, putting my head on William's right shoulder. He put his head above mine. What did you answer then? I just explained that I didn't have to answer those questions because it made me ill at ease, and then she started getting angry and saying that I shouldn't reply like that, and I hung up before she could say mean stuff. That sucks, he said. I just hummed and closed my eyes, enjoying being able to be close to my boyfriend. After some minutes, William broke the silence. There's something we should talk about. I lifted my head from his shoulder, looking at him. That didn't sound good. I mean, most of the time, and people said that, it was followed by something bad. Calm down, I'm not breaking up with you, he said before I could even open my mouth. I guess my worry was visible. I just think we should talk about coming out to Jess and Simon. I think the longer we wait, the worse it'll be. Especially because of Jess and her feelings for you, I finished his sentence. Yeah, that. Well, if you're ready, we can tell them after our last class. I'm ready to tell them, and I want to be able to be close to you like that when we're with them. I want to stop hiding so much. I'm ready too, he answered. I leaned to kiss him. I felt his left hand grab the back of my neck to bring us even closer, while his right hand squeezed mine even tighter. We kept kissing until we heard someone clear their throats. We pulled apart and saw Jessica and Simon. Crap.
Care to explain what exactly is going on here?
Asked Jessica. Her arms were crossed over her chest, and she looked mad. Like, really mad. Jess, I stuttered as I stood up and approached them, but was stopped by Jessica, blocking me with her hand.
Just explain, please.
Now she looked more pained than mad. We're dating, I heard William say behind me as he stood up too. We have been for 2 months now. We wanted to talk about it to you two, but we weren't ready.
Clearly you were not,
said Jessica coldly. Simon was still silent. He looked surprised, but I couldn't tell if it was a good or a bad thing. She looked at me.
Well, nice to meet you, Jane.
Jess, I'm so sorry for lying to you. It's just that when you told me about your feelings for William, we were the farthest thing from ready to tell either of you, so we panicked and thought that telling you he had a girlfriend was the best thing to do, I said desperately, trying to make her understand our side of the story.
You really thought I would have judged you for being gay? James, we've been best friends for years, she exclaimed.
I know, and that's why I was so scared to tell you. I was scared it would change our relationship, the way you saw me. You're one of the most important people in my life. I wasn't ready to take the risk of losing you. I felt William's hand gently squeeze my shoulder.
I knew it. Well, I at least suspected it. That you're gay.
She said, which took me off of guard. And from the look Simon gave her, I wasn't the only one who wasn't expecting that answer. What? How? I asked, lost.
James, we've known each other since we're 10, and during all those years, you never showed the slightest interest in girls. So I suspected that you were either gay or just not interested in anyone,
she said, and sighed. Why didn't you talk about it?
I didn't want you to feel pressured into coming out if my suspicions were true, she said quietly.
Are you mad? I asked, scared of the answer. I really didn't want to lose her.
About what? You being gay? Of course not. How could I be mad about that? But I'm definitely mad about the lie. That applies to the both of you, she answered.
We're really, really sorry. At that time, we just panicked, said William.
So you knew then? About my feelings?
She asked William. I looked at Simon, who had remained silent the entire time. That scared me. I had no idea what he was thinking about everything. Yes, I knew. James told me right after you told him. He didn't want to say something that would worsen everything, so we made up that story about that distant girlfriend. That way you wouldn't have too much hope, thinking that I was single and could be interested and we didn't have to come out yet, William explained.
I see, she said. Anyway, we came to tell you that the last class is cancelled. I tried to text and call the both of you, but I didn't receive any kind of answer.
I took out my phone and saw that she had sent me 3 texts and called me twice.
Well, see you tomorrow then,
she finished, and grabbed Simon's arm and dragged him away with her. I stood there, not really knowing what to do, what to say. Jessica was mad at me, and she had never been. We had never fought before. In 10 years, we never even had a disagreement, not once. And why did Simon say nothing? He just stood there the entire time, not saying a thing. I have no idea what he's thinking about all this. He's not homophobic, right? I never heard him say something wrong about LGBTQIA plus people, so it should be fine. Maybe he was just surprised. Yeah, it was just that. He didn't know what to say, that's all. Hey there, you okay? I heard William ask me gently, grabbing my arms. Yeah, no, I don't really know. I'm scared Jess will stop talking to me. I know it sounds childish, but I don't know what to do. We've never fought before, so how do I fix this? I lied to her. It may have been the best thing to do, but I don't know. Maybe we could have found something else? And Simon didn't say anything. I don't even know what he could be thinking, I rambled. He cupped my cheeks and kissed my forehead. It's gonna be fine, okay? Jess doesn't hate us. She won't stop our friendship for this, I'm sure of it. Maybe we should let her some time to process everything and then talk about it calmly. And I'm sure Simon was just surprised. He's not a bad guy, okay? I just nodded and hugged him. You want me to come to yours tonight? I don't want to leave you alone like that, he asked, almost whispering. Yes, please. We then grabbed our bags that we had left on the ground where we were seated before all of this happened. Okay, I'll text my parents and tell them we have a group project to work on. That was the excuse we often used. We walked quietly to my flat, which was only a 10-minute walk away. My parents had agreed to let me have my own place next to campus, so I could be more efficient at school, not wasting time on transport and be able to work more. I really liked having my own place. That way I could do whatever I wanted without being asked questions about it. My friends could come anytime and I didn't have to ask permission to invite someone. Want to cuddle and watch something? Asked William as we entered my flat. Yeah, I just need to go to the bathroom real quick, I answered. In the bathroom, I splashed my head with cold water and tried to calm down. Everything was gonna be okay. When I exited the bathroom, I saw that William had already turned on the TV and was trying to find something to watch, and he had taken out my big plaid from under the couch. I sat on the couch next to him and got under the plaid. We settled on watching a show with short episodes that we already knew by heart. He sat next to me and got under the plaid with me. We cuddled as we watched the TV. Sometimes my mind wandered, and every time William would squeeze my hand and ask me if I was okay. After watching 3 episodes, we got up to cook something. I liked to cook, especially when I was nervous, and Whenever he could, William would help me do simple things, or wash the cookware I didn't need anymore. We had settled on making chips with some chicken, my comfort foods. William peeled the potatoes before I cut them and fried them. He also helped me make some cheese sauce for the chicken. When we had nothing to do, he would just hug me from behind, waiting for his next mission. I liked those moments, doing something I liked with the person I loved. It chased my anxiety away. We sat at the kitchen island and ate while talking about sweet nothings. After we finished eating, we washed the dishes together, put on our pajamas, and went back to watching the show. Around 10:30, after 2 episodes, I started to fall asleep on his shoulder. "Wanna go to bed?" he asked quietly. "Yeah." "Go ahead, I'll follow you." He then turned off the TV and waited for me to get up to fold the plaid and put it back under the couch. The moment I arrived in my bedroom, I sank into the bed on my stomach and hugged my pillow. I heard the door close and felt William lie down on me. "You prefer hugging your pillow over your boyfriend?" he asked playfully. "You were taking too long folding that plaid," I answered, smirking. He fake gasped and rolled off me. I turned to lie on my side and face him. He opened his arms, and I didn't hesitate before going in and hugging him. "Good night, sweetheart," William whispered and kissed the top of my head. It wasn't a good night. I woke up twice because of nightmares I didn't remember. I woke up a third time around 2 in the morning, sweating. I tried to get out of the bed quietly, so as to not wake William up, who was sleeping like a log. I tiptoed to the bathroom to splash my head once again with cold water. When I got back in the bedroom, William was sitting on the bed. "You okay?" he asked, looking worried. "Not really, I keep waking up." "Come here," he said, opening his arms. I settled in his arms and explained that I woke up 3 times because of nightmares, that I couldn't remember the first 2, but I remembered the third. We were arriving at school and everyone was giving us dirty looks. Jessica and Simon were both ignoring us, not talking to us at all. "Don't worry, it won't happen. It's just a bad dream, okay?" William tried to reassure me. "Yeah, you're right," I answered. We laid back and fell asleep, hugging each other. I didn't wake up after that. I didn't have any new nightmares. When the alarm woke us up at 7 in the morning, we were still tangled with each other. I groaned and tried to find my phone to turn off the alarm, and got up. William was still half asleep on the bed. "Rise and shine, sleepyhead," I teased him. William was not a morning person. "Oh," he whined and grabbed me by the waist and pulled me down on the bed. "None of that, mister. We have to get prepared," I scolded him while laughing. "Ugh, fine." He stood up and followed me out of the bedroom. We sat at the kitchen island to eat a small breakfast quietly. After putting the dishes in the sink, we went to the bathroom together and prepared ourselves to go to class. When we arrived at the campus 20 minutes later, Simon and Jessica weren't at the entrance like they usually were at that time. We entered thinking that they were probably already inside. As we got closer to the classroom, we saw Simon, sitting against the wall with his phone in hand, probably playing. We sat in front of him, neither of us talking. "Hey, Simon, how are you doing?" asked William. "Fine," answered Simon, without looking up from his phone. "Cool," replied William. This situation was stressing me out. Usually we would talk about dumb stuff with Simon, and now he barely replied to William. I glanced worriedly at William, who gave me a reassuring look. Then I saw Jessica arrive, with her phone in hand and her earphones buried in her ears. She sat next to Simon, giving us a weak smile. It was bad. They were barely talking to us. I was thankful it was Friday and that we only had 2 classes because I wouldn't have survived more than 1 day like that, with my friends talking to us only when necessary. Even during the boring class, we didn't communicate as we usually did. At least they had sat with us. William and I didn't even dare to be affectionate with each other, still acting like platonic, good friends. During the second class, Jessica was next to me, and a few minutes before the end, I handed her a small piece of paper with "Can we talk after class?" written on it, to which she answered by nodding. When the class ended, Simon was the first one to leave, waving at us to say goodbye. William, Jessica, and I exited the building together. "You can go, Will. I'll text you later," I told my boyfriend, who just nodded. "So, what did you want to talk about?" Jessica asked me. "This situation, I hate it. I don't want us to be in a fight," I explained. "We're not in a fight," she replied. "Maybe not, but you're at least still mad." "Yes, look, the guy I had feelings for was actually dating my best friend,
Who knew about my feelings? How would you feel if you were me?
She sighed.
I'm not mad, really mad. I just need some time.
I understand. Did Simon say anything to you? Yesterday he didn't speak, and today he seemed ill at ease. I'm scared that we're making him feel uncomfortable.
No, he didn't tell me anything. And if it's true, if he's not comfortable, then it's his problem. He has no reason to be acting like that, she replied.
I just nodded.
Well, see you Monday then.
Yeah, bye, I said as we departed in different ways. I arrived at my flat around noon and ate some leftovers from the night before while watching the last episodes of the show William and I watched together. While I was washing the dishes we used this morning, I heard my phone buzz. I hoped that it was Simon, giving me some kind of explanation, but no, it was William. Hey, how'd it go with Jess? Right, I forgot to text him. It went okay. She told me she wasn't really angry, but that she needed some time. I think her feelings were stronger than we thought. I can get it. The fact that she needs time. Did she say anything about Simon? He was so wired all day long. I just asked her, but she said they didn't talk about it. I think I'll send him a text to try to have an explanation. I hope he's not homophobic.
I don't think so. I think he'll probably have a good reason for how he acted.
I hope so. Anyway, I should work on that paper we have since I couldn't yesterday.
Are you complaining that your amazing, caring boyfriend came to yours to cheer you up?
Of course not. You should work too, by the way. Don't try to change the subject.
You're right. Talk to you later. Love you.
Love you too. I put my phone back in my pocket, went to my bedroom, sat at my desk, and started working. After 2 hours of hard work, I stretched my arms and looked at my phone to see if I had any messages. I had 3 missed calls from my mom and a message asking why I wasn't answering my phone. I replied that I was working and tried to avoid distractions and told her that I would call her later, which I didn't plan on actually doing or at a time I knew she wasn't available. The last thing I needed right now was her meddling in my life. I opened Instagram to send a text on the group chat with Jessica, Simon, and William. Hey guys, I wanted to send you this text as an apology, especially to Jessica. I'm so sorry for hurting your feelings and lying. I know you need some time, and I'll respect that. I don't want our friendship to end because of a boy. Simon, I'm sorry if you're uncomfortable with us now that you know we're gay. I just hope it won't change our friendship. I tried to keep working while waiting for an answer, but my mind wouldn't focus. I was way too anxious about what they would say. After 15 minutes of pacing back and forth in my bedroom, I heard my phone buzz. I hastily took my phone and saw that Jessica had answered.
It's okay, James. Thank you for understanding. Remember that I love you no matter what.
Love you too, Jess. As I was going to put my phone back on my desk, I felt it vibrate in my hand. Simon had answered. Hey mate, I'm really sorry for how I acted today and yesterday. I was just really surprised and didn't know what to say. And today I was distant because I was scared you'd be mad about my reaction from yesterday, and the fact that you're together would change the dynamic of the group. I'm also really sorry for all the comments I made about you needing to date a girl. It's okay, Sim. You should have talked about it. It scared the shit out of us. We thought you might be homophobic. No, I'm not. I'm an ally.
Simon, it sounds like you're trying to prove something if you say it like that.
What? But I'm really an ally. She's just messing with you, and thanks for explaining and the apology. I was glad things were back to normal and that we had all talked about it. We kept talking and helped each other with the paper over text. The next day, William and I went on our date, and we were both less scared of showing affection to each other, because the persons that mattered the most already knew about us. At the end of the day, I even received a text from Jessica asking me how our date went. She also said that the more she knew about our relationship, the easier it would be for her to get over William. On Sunday, I received a text from Simon, which took me off of guard. Hey, sorry to bother you, but I don't know who else to ask. I think I like Jess. I know she had feelings for William, but since he's gay and with you, I should have a chance, right? Wow, I really wasn't expecting that. I think you should wait before telling her. You might have a chance, but she's not entirely over William yet, so take your time. You should try spending some time with her outside of the library and try to find something to do with her. How do I do that? Well, she never saw any Marvel films. You could use that as a way to spend time with her. Tell her that you want to show her how good these films can be, or something like that. But prepare yourself, because she'll probably try to make you watch her favorite films too. And those are far from being Marvel films. It's okay, as long as I can get closer to her, I'm willing to watch films with men that are way too perfect to exist. Hey, William is perfect. Gosh, chill. I guess now I'll have to hear and see the both of you being cheesy. I promised to try and not be too cheesy. I don't want you to become jealous. Jealous? 'Cause you can't date the girl you like. Yet. That's right, yet! I was glad that Simon talked to me about it. It showed me that things really didn't change. On Monday, the group was back the way it was. My friends waited for me at the entrance. I hugged Jess, bumped fists with Simon, and lightly kissed William. We both agreed that after telling our friends that we would show affection in public. No one else really knew us, so we didn't care what they could say or do. We walked to the classroom in a line, Simon next to Jessica, trying to talk her into watching films with him. Jessica had her right arm hooked on my right arm, and William and I were holding hands. Everything was perfect. A month later, William and I are still together, and we got more comfortable with showing affection in public. And as surprising as it may be, Simon had succeeded asking Jessica out. At first, I was worried she had accepted to forget William, but as time passed by, I realized that she might really like him. After 2 months, they were officially together and being even more cheesy than William and I. The end. How would you have reacted if you were Jessica? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.